Softball is like love. First you learn the rules of the game, and then you forget the rules and play from your heart.
In 2013, in the US, over 7 million people played slow-pitch softball at least once. 4.5 million core players played 13 times or more. 2.7 million core players are male. Over 67,000 of them are over age 65. In Dayton, Ohio, following the regular season, 112 slow-pitch players, all over age 63, played 6 more weeks. These are the hardcore players. If they were lucky, they made the playoffs. Luckier still, some played in the championship game. Winning the championship game was about off-season bragging rights, but, truth be told, everybody wins. This is the Fall League. Before about 1992, senior slow-pitch leagues in the Dayton area did not exist. Much like the origins of softball in 1887, the senior leagues in Dayton began somewhat by accident. Led by a couple of guys who had played softball at the highest levels and didn't feel the need to stop just because they turned 50 years old.
This is what I wanted for other guys, is to go back and play like they did when they were young.
Basically, the idea, when we were out here, we were 11 years old again. And we get a big kick out of playing. And while we don't play for blood exactly, everybody puts in 100% all
That's
the time.
what you say.
It's a bunch of guys that, hey, we're taping. It's a bunch of guys, and we have a couple ladies in our league. And it's a recreation, but it's also a bunch of people that like each other a lot. We're like a brotherhood here, and we love to play ball. We change teams every year, and with the different leagues we're in, you may be playing with the guy one game, but that night you may be playing against.
We will get T-shirts for everybody.
Well, no, take a vote. Maybe some guys want a trophy.
I like T-shirts.
Yeah.
I'm the
How
coach.
you other?
I want to affirm what Don said, is that these guys are the greatest. They are wonderful, wonderful people. I tell my wife, Sally, you can't believe, what fun it is to be with these guys, to talk with them, to toss around, to get out there and do our best, to encourage each other to play well. And they're the most splendid guys going.
Down the open plate. Come on, Nurse, just like last time.
George Cooney started out very innocently batting practice on a Sunday at these ball fields. They're going now, they have condos in them. But we went out and hit, and then pretty soon we started getting a lot of guys out there.
Nice shot, Eric.
And that's basically the beginning of it. And George, we decided we'd have a league.
I first started playing organized softball when I was still in high school. I was a junior in high school. I was on the baseball team, and I asked a coach if I could, a bunch of us formed a team, and I asked him if he cared if I played softball while I'd still be on the baseball team. He said, no, you can't do both. So I quit the baseball team, started playing softball.
Like I say, I had a dream of everybody being able to play. It seemed like after 35 or 40, you had to quit playing softball, you could play golf. And most guys don't like golf. We started there on a Sunday, and George handled the money, and I handled the putting them on teams.
And then in 91 or 92, Jim Zink and George Cooney started this Cooney Zink Senior Softball League in Dayton, playing at Ketter Fields. I got involved in that. I joined that, I think in 97 or 98. Jim needed a manager, so he asked if I'd manage, and I started managing then, and so I've been managing probably 15, 16 years, something like that.
It's carried on now thanks to guys like Bob Hill and Don Burgess. These younger guys are keeping it going. They're keeping the league going now. I don't know if you're familiar with the Legends, Dayton Legends. They're really doing what I wanted this Cooney Zink to do.
Well, I knew George Cooney I played with him like the first couple of years I started playing softball. Jimmy Zink, I played against him when he was with Strohs and Belmar, and we became friends. And then when I got 52, I joined the Zink Cooney League. And that's how the Dayton Legends, like 90% of the people that are on the Dayton Legends today are from the Cooney Zink League. I guess the only thing I want to say is, like I said, George Cooney and Jimmy Zink, they grandfathered the Dayton Legends. And Jimmy Zink was so proud that we were doing something. I do know that.
Once in a while, a younger ball player will come around and say, "Are you Jim Zink?" And they say, "Thanks for, starting all this playing." I said, "I got something to play now," and that really makes me feel good.
I'm Julia Dalton, and I'm married to Jim Dalton.
And I'm Judy Gramp, and I'm married to George Gramp.
If I have a breath left, I'm going to be out on the field. I'm going to be playing. One of our guys, I think he has the record right now. He's 87. He's still out here. I plan on breaking that record.
When George and I first met, he was going to ask me out, but he had to go to a softball tournament out of town. So he called me when they lost and took me to dinner, and then I learned to live with softball every weekend for the rest of my life.
George has been passionate about sports since he was a little kid. And he's still passionate.
Mine ran track, I think, in high school, but he didn't start playing softball until he was 25 years old. But ever since then, he's played on a lot of co-ed teams, and then as soon as he got old enough, he decided to come to the senior league, and he loves it.
I think this is a great outlet for seniors. I think it keeps them fit and healthy, besides the injuries, and in social contact with their peers, and they just enjoy it. They take it so seriously that we wives get to sit back and laugh at them.
Softball is often an after-hours kind of activity, so players participate with the support and involvement of spouses or significant others. Some couples actually met on the diamond playing co-ed softball.
It's fun to be with guys of my age. I think I'll stop playing when my shoes give out. Until then, I'll keep on playing.
One of two things: a severe injury or a lot of static from the wife. The home fronts bear a lot on them.
But they are cute. They have fun when they go out there. I mean, just listen to them.
Heck of a pitcher.
Just call me Chap.
Heck of a pitcher. Heck of a pitcher.
All right, who's up? Who's up?
Dr. Leon Spearoff is Professor Emeritus in Obstetrics and Gynecology at Oregon Health and Science University. He began playing senior slow-pitch softball in 2007 and currently plays outfield in 3 senior leagues in Vancouver, Washington, and Portland, Oregon. In addition to his many professional credentials, He has written 2 definitive books about senior slow pitch softball: A Slow Pitch Summer, My Rookie Senior Softball Season, and Slow Pitch Therapy. Dr. Spearoff is a Vietnam-era veteran, serving from 1966 to 1968.
We have a lot of veterans playing senior softball. I remember Dick, a Vietnam veteran who lost the sight in one of his eyes. Also earned a lot of medals in Vietnam. He wasn't an athlete. He had never played sports his whole life. And here he was, playing senior softball. He was overwhelmed by the reaction of his teammates when he made a great play or got a hit.
All right!
I think that veterans appreciate the importance of team, but here's an environment where the object is joy and reward, positive reward, without the problems of fear and danger. So it strikes me that there's a special place for veterans in senior softball, especially veterans who are struggling to come back into society. Because here's a safe environment that gives you that same team support that you had in the military.
Now you're ready, Jay.
But the emphasis is all enjoyment, living the moment in life that is so rewarding. And I think veterans are attracted to playing senior softball for these reasons, and they're good reasons.
Many of the current players in the league are military veterans who served during World War II, the Korean War, or the Vietnam War. As individuals, their personal military experience reflects their campaign and their times, and all share a pride in their service. And a successful military career definitely reinforces the brotherhood that develops around a slow pitch league. Dr. Kathy Platoni, a clinical psychologist, is a veteran of the Iraq and Afghanistan campaigns. Through her work, she counsels soldiers returning from battle who may be dealing with PTSD and the often difficult return to civilian life. Her perspective on team sports and the Fall League offers hope for those dealing with the deep wounds of war, be they young men returning from the Middle East or aging veterans who still carry the scars of the long silent battlefields of World War II, Korea, and Vietnam.
The bonds formed during military service are really stronger and more powerful than any bonds, even with family. Stronger than any adversity, any hardships faced. And I think the Fall League is forged of the very same stuff.
My name is Vernon Moon Miller, like 3 months shy of being 88 years old. I play ball 3 times a week. I'm in the Softball Hall of Fame and the Legends Hall of Fame. Next year, if I play, it'll be my 72nd year of playing softball. And I've won 55 championships in my lifetime. That's local, state, and national. And I took up 4 years out to my first championship I won in 1942 when I was 16. And then after that summer was over, I quit school and I went to join the Navy in 43 when I was 17 years old. It was on the USS Cincinnati, and we had a couple of little skirmishes and everything like that. The biggest scene we had was being involved in the Normandy landing in D-Day, June the 6th, 1944.
I joined the Air Force when I was 18 years old. Then when I joined the Air Force, I played a couple years softball before I went overseas. And then when I got out, I had a break about 8 years where I didn't play because I was going to college and I got married. And then when we came to Right Pat in 1968, we formed a team and we started playing like intramural, just on base. And I've played every year since 1968.
I went in the military in 1966. It's during the Vietnam War. And a lot of my buddies were getting drafted. I just graduated in May, and I was getting draft notices by June or July. And And I was patriotic because my father had been in the World War II in Korea, so I went down and joined. Shortly after all my training, I went to Vietnam. My memories of that is, foggy sometimes because it happened so fast and everything. But I was trained as an infantryman, but somehow I ended up as a brigade commander's driver. Depending where we was at and where I was in training, Sunday they said, well, you'd have a little bit of downtime. And the guys all seemed to be, at least the ones I hung around with, athletic. They wanted to do something sporty. So we'd play baseball, football, basketball, and stuff like that. That was a good motive, you get together and play a little team sports and get a little exercise, They always had facilities for you, and it was good because it was a day of rest, but really you wanted to unwind, concentrate on something else than training.
The very environment inherent in the Fall League seems to offer a welcoming community for men to share. Not only friendships that overcome self-imposed remoteness and a disconnect, but the empathy and acceptance unlikely to be available to them anywhere else in their present lives and life situations. It is wholly appropriate that this league would attract a large proportion of members from the military veteran community. The shared experiences of these veterans becomes a powerful elixir for the creation of significant ties among and between these players. Although the stakes are decidedly very different, the basis for them is very much the same, a sense of belonging and the camaraderie of the very highest order. I've treated a number of clients, and primarily those suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder and from depressive disorders, and I found that a common thread that binds so many individuals together, regardless of the specific diagnosis, is the social isolation that they face. In other words, a lack of belongingness. Consequently, I've developed a real interest in the potential therapeutic effects of and participation in team sports that may offer veterans of the recent war in Iraq and the current war in Afghanistan, as well as the war in Vietnam, a real place to turn.
Todd Reed is an outfielder with the Wounded Warrior amputee softball team and a veteran of the first Iraq campaign. He recently became eligible to play in a 50 and over senior league, but will always keep his weekends available for the Wounded Warrior team. The difference slow-pitch softball has made in Todd's life after his war injury is something he recognizes and values.
At the time of my accident, shortly after that, my life was enriched in many ways. And, at that time, I was very cocky and thought that I could conquer the world and you could deploy me, anywhere. And I pretty much thought I was invincible. I was put in that position to see how I would handle life after being knocked down a few notches. And I've been so blessed and my life was enriched. After the accident, now I'm looking for chapter 3 in my life at 53 years old. I'm too young to retire. So between playing softball with these guys, which is wonderful, I still need to find something to do during the week, to take up my time and keep me out of trouble.
The Wounded Warrior amputee softball team is the brainchild of CEO and General Manager David Van Sleet, a former prosthetics program manager with the Department of Veterans Affairs. It is comprised of veterans and active duty soldiers who have served their country in Iraq, Afghanistan, and the global war on terror.
It's changed their lives. I think it's made them happier. It's calmed them down. It's given them a chance to be active in their community and play in softball leagues. Most of our guys play in softball leagues during the week and then play with us on weekend. I think they caught the bug and they're going to be playing this game for a long time.
John, he ain't got no arm in left.
I don't know that.
I'll tell you.
If he'd have fumbled it, I would have sent him, but he didn't fumble it.
I really enjoy doing the seniors more than I do the younger guys. They have a tendency to respect the game more. They don't let you get away with anything. They still do pretty good rule interpretations, but they treat the game with more respect.
We wanted Cooney Zinc to be every team to win a game, every team to lose a game. And one thing I want to do different, you know, most of the time we played, all the good guys would go on the same team. Like Monday morning here, the good guys all get together and really don't have any chance for the poor teams. So that's what we did. We wanted to make sure that the Cooney Zinc was, everybody was put on different teams. In other words, we'd pick 7 different shortstops. Every team would have a shortstop, a good shortstop. We've lost some players because they said, well, I don't want to do that. I want to play with my buddy and this. I would say, don't play then. And they'd sit out a year, and then next year they'd be back ready to play.
Nice side, Bob.
It hadn't happened every year, but just about every year, if the managers pick them right and put them on the right team, every team is equal. I remember one year, team lost every game, but every game was by 1 run. And the players stayed with that team because they were close every time.
In Dayton right now, there's more senior players than regular players. If you ever come out here during the week, if you come out here on a Monday, this place is packed with senior teams. These people, they love to play. They love to play. They love to play.
If you watch their faces closely, every face is smiling. Losers and winners, ball.
You don't have to be so happy.
Everybody is congratulating the other for another successful conquest over aging, for the joy of being on a ball field, participating, whether you did well, whether you did poorly, that becomes less important. It struck me that anthropologists and sociologists ought to study senior softball as a way to live without war, a way to have competition without conflict. I think that senior softball allows the individual to participate in a group process that, whether the senior ball player is aware of it or not, is extremely rewarding, emotional in a positive way. Most ball players find it hard to articulate this, but I'll bet every senior ball player feels it deep in their hearts.
I would like to be able to still slide into second and third, and I'm afraid I'll break my hip. And also, I would like to dive after balls, you know, in the outfield, or, you know, go sliding in on my knees to pick up something that's really low. But then I'm afraid I'll break my bones, and I don't want to get any broken bones.
I don't have that problem, but excuse me. I don't have that problem because I'm not fast enough to dive. I never get that close to the ball to dive, and I never get to run. And even if I'm running, I happen to be going to second base, they're so far behind. They're 70 foot now, so I'm nowhere near to think about sliding and make it a close play like I was when I was young. You used to slide. If you slid, you had a really good chance of being safe at second on a. I'm too slow to even be close to there. I'm like 4th of the way. The play's already out at second, but it is. You do worry about your body.
It's the greatest sport, and it's easy. You very seldom get hurt. He almost got hurt when he was catching. Some big bruiser came in and see how hard he could hit him, knocked him against the backstop. So they made him go to the hospital, and when we walked in the room, there was another ball player.
I had a total knee replacement. I was playing with the seniors, and so I said, well, heck, I can't play no more, can't run like I used to, so I decided to come to umpire. And I've been doing this now for about 14 years. And I love the game. You know, it's fun.
I play senior softball because it is a great game, it's exercise, and it's fun. I quit playing when I can't play anymore, and I'll watch from then on.
Well, I play softball because the guys around here, I like the people, you fit right in. But the main reason is guys I graduated from school with, high school and college, and people I've known can't do this anymore. So I'm really doing it for them. They can't run, but they enjoy themselves. They would love to come out here and play. And I think that's the way we're all playing. We're all out here until we get too old or until we kick the bucket. You know, simple as that.
Some seniors play against the advice of their doctors because the alternative, quitting the game and all that goes with it, is not acceptable. Players schedule their surgeries, treatment, and rehab for the off-season, much like professional athletes who get paid to play.
I think that the guys who are playing senior softball are survivors. Even though you've had health problems, even though you've had problems in your life, the release you find attracts you to the game. The camaraderie attracts you to the game. But at the same time, these are guys who have survived various problems. So that even quiet guys that you don't suspect a toughness about them, they have it. And you have to have that toughness to survive bad times, bad plays, bad games. But that toughness is helped by the tremendous support you get from your teammates. Because everybody is having that same experience. Everybody has their bad days and their good days.
I like to play. I'm no good, but I enjoy it. Got nothing else to do. I'm retired. So of course, everybody just about's retired out here. But I enjoy playing. I just wish I could do better.
You can't get carried away sometimes with your good plays and your good runs because you know around the corner there'll be a bad time. That process does keep you humble. But despite a bad run and a bad play, there's always a moment that comes that's precious and that it is uplifting to your spirits. I remember when I was going through my struggle 2 years long with a lymphoma. I came back to the ballpark after not having played ball for about 2 weeks. And I went 5 for 5 that night. It was uplifting, tremendously uplifting. And after the ball game, even the opposing team was joined with me in my spirit. I went home flying on a cloud because of a ball game. I've mentioned that playing senior softball is a small triumph against the aging process. It's not hard to imagine the benefit of the physical exercise, the effect on muscles, cardiovascular system. But often we overlook the mental aspect. Playing softball, your mind has to be in the game. You have to keep track of the outs, the balls and strikes, what the next play should be. You're always thinking. It's a focused concentration. And it's that focused concentration that brings a release from all the other problems in life. I remember one of my teammates who struggled for over a year with his wife going through the diagnosis and treatment of ovarian cancer. And I asked him, why did he keep coming to the softball games? Why did he keep playing senior softball? He had a one-word answer. He said, release. And that one word expresses what goes on the ball field. You are released from all the other stresses in your life. There's no room in your mind for anything but the game.
Well, basically, I guess what it comes down to, when I'm on a softball field, I don't think about anything else. I forget all my other troubles.
In the senior leagues, with an added layer of health and safety concerns, there is little separation between softball and life. Far from being fatalistic about health and safety issues, most senior players happily embrace the fact that they're still coming out for the next at-bat.
Get off the couch, put the remote down. If you can't run, we got somebody to run for you. To me, fitness, diet and exercise is the key to longevity. We got guys in the 80s playing softball, so softball not that hard to play. A lot of these guys never played softball. You can tell by looking at them, but they're out here playing. I mean, if you can do anything, move and watch your diet. That's why I keep playing. I'll play problem until I fall over. I don't know.
You know it's time to get out of the chair, out of the recliner, and back onto the ball field. You're never too old to let the child in you come out and play. Act your shoe size instead of your age. Go for it. It's so important not to let old age throw you that curveball. Look old age in the eye, laugh, and play ball.
Hitting a ball with a bat seems simple, but it's actually complex. It's now pretty well understood of how a ball responds to the bat and how to make the bat the best instrument to hit the ball. Seems like every hitter has a different stance. Seems like every hitter holds the bat in a different way. Every pitcher throws it in their own style. And the reason is there is an art to the process of hitting. It has to feel right to you.
They want to create a better bat for the senior players. With the growth of senior softball, and I believe the number is 1.5 million senior softball players, which is a large amount of players playing the game today. We at Louisville Slugger figured we need to be in this market because it's going to allow the players, it's going to allow Louisville Slugger to make our mark in the senior softball game by allowing players to perform at their highest level. I believe in the 70s is when the aluminum bats started to hit the market, and engineers and research departments were figuring out that you could take a tube of aluminum and you could do different things with it. You could have different weight drops, you could thin out the walls, you could put the weight distribution in different parts of the bats because it was a hollow tube. And engineers were stretching and pulling and thinning out the walls to where you could do different things. The lighter the bat, increased bat to ball speed. So that became prevalent in the 1970s because players had an option, they could do more things. Whereas you had with wood, if you had a 34-inch bat and it was a solid 34-inch bat, it was going to weigh 34 ounces. So it was a heavy bat. And then you transition into the aluminum bats where it was a solid piece of aluminum, to where those bats, even though 34 inches, were 36, 38 ounces because it was a solid piece of aluminum. Then you take the tubes, a hollow tube, and you're stretching and pulling. That allowed you to do different things with the weight, variable walls, to create increased bat speed because it was a lighter type of aluminum. There wasn't anything in the middle. So your players were able to do different things or control it and increase the bat to ball speed for distance and power. The technology of the bats have allowed players, senior players, to stay in the game longer. Technology has extended their careers. The softball associations have safety at the top of their mind. They understand that the players, especially in senior softball, are getting a little bit older and that the equipment is that good.
The technical development of better softballs and better bats especially has been so extensive, so progressive, that the balls and bats have become even a little dangerous. And for that reason, we have established in senior softball certain rules to help protect us because of diminished reflexes, physical ability that has declined. At home plate, you run past the plate into a scoring plate to again avoid collisions.
You know, running to the side of the bag, you know, using different types of balls, maybe placing a net in front of the pitcher. There are different things that different associations do that are implemented to create safety for the player. The technology has created a better player, and it's graduating into the senior softball market. So those numbers are going to increase. They're going to continue to increase as players in their 30s and 40s, you know, graduate into 50s and 60s. That sport's going to still be there for them, and it's going to grow.
The new bats allow us to hit that ball well. There's nothing sweeter than the sound of a softball being hit well by one of these new bats. That sound stays with me the night of a game, usually all night, even the next morning.
There is no certainty about the future of slow pitch softball at any level, and definitely not where seniors are concerned. It is a fact that today's seniors, who grew up when baseball was the national pastime, will eventually have to stop playing. The question is, who will replace them? Or, some would say, will anyone replace them? Today, fewer young people play baseball, so the foundation for playing softball doesn't exist for many. Little League baseball programs are canceled due to lack of participants. Ball diamonds are not maintained. Cities and towns use their scarce resources on other activities, which are supported by their constituents. The competition for the attention of young people is fierce.
Baseball is really trending way down in participation and popularity.
Yes.
So how can we, look at the big picture and try to bring some of that back to the city and expose it to the kids? They're not going to play adult softball if they didn't play baseball as a kid. The quality of our facilities is second to none, and probably better than most major Ohio cities. I'm told probably on a weekly basis that in our centers, which are in the neighborhoods, there's at least one person that walks in and says, "Man, I didn't know this was here."
We meet with the seniors, the presidents of each senior group, in addition to the DASC, and then we sit as a team, and then we make that final decision. So we look into all avenues, and again, it's a team effort. The seniors are the ones playing in the league, so we take into consideration all the changes that they have. If they're saying, "Hey, this is a problem," or "This bat is not good, why is this being used," or "These two plays need to be changed," we definitely take that into consideration, and we don't have a problem with changing it. We want to make sure that they're happy and content with playing out there. I can only wish when I get to that age I'll have that much energy and excitement to just continue to be that competitive, and just want to be a part of something like that.
I love the game. I'm physically not capable of playing like I used to because of bad knee and hip. These guys are the future of the club. Without these guys, this club's and the Zink Cooney League, it'll go downhill. There won't be nothing there.
As time went on, I played softball for quite a few years and was competitive, played open ball with a lot of good buddies. And, as time went on, I was working a lot and started slowing down and worked a lot of overtime. And I got out of it about 92, didn't play anymore. And I just found this senior league about 4 years ago, and I've been excited ever since. It's got my juices flowing again. All the good guys. I'm the first wave of the baby boomers. There'll be a lot of us, behind me that's going to move into these leagues, and that's good. And these guys set that up, and I commend them for that.
I am pretty good looking at it.
You're at home and you still have that love of the game. You still have a burst of energy to want to play the game. And even if you think that you're too old and you're too rusty, come out and give it a try. We've had guys that hadn't played for 20 and 30 and 40 years and are coming out and they're repeating playing year after year. And I think they would enjoy the fellowship and getting back, because when you play ball, you have that fellowship. There's that group of people. And I think a lot of guys would miss that.
Batter up!
Floating pitches and Duck just lost his hat. Hollywood at shortstop and Moses at the bat. Buddy heading home like he is going to a races. Pops is out in center throwing bullets to the bases. Temperature is rising and the grass is getting greener. Billy steps up to the plate, smacks him in between, and that's the way. That's the way. Leon got a problem with the rotator cuff. Jimmy got a new knee, but he can run good enough. Joe has got some hammies that are giving him some trouble. He can hit a home run, stretch it into a double. The sky is getting bluer and the sun is riding high. Tuffy got a bad hop, caught a black eye, that's the way. That's the way. That's the way. We play the game around here. That's the way we play the game around here. Guarding the line, playing defense. Not out for blood, but it's a little intense. Swinging from the hills, running into fences. When we get a little older, we can come into our senses. Second and he covers some ground. Hank is in the outfield and he's running it down. Ronnie takes a turn and Richie makes a throw. Jerry takes an extra base and he comes sliding in low. After the game, he got his ankle on ice. If you wanna play the game, you gotta sacrifice. That's the way. That's the way. That's the way. We play the game around here. That's the way we play the game around here. Guarding the line, playing defense. Not out for blood, but it's a little intense. Swinging from the hills, running into fences. When we get a little older, we might come into our senses. That's
good enough to take you. Without breaking the camera, you mean?
If he wasn't my coach, I'd have him come back. I got